If you happen to follow my channel, you may notice that I unlisted one of my videos, and that was the one about the Bambu Lab printer over there. Now, I delisted it because the information available, it just keeps changing. The narrative keeps changing. Bambu keeps saying one thing, then retracting it and clarifying it. The point is, I don't trust it. I don't trust anything about it. I feel like it's almost a bait and switch. They got us in the door, they got millions of customers on board, and now they can, as Louis Rossmann would put it, change the terms after the sale. So I'm here to tell you what I've done with my Bambu P1S and what my plans are in the future. Welcome back to Justin Nelson's Projects. I do projects on 3D printing, electronics, microcontrollers, automotive, you name it. A lot of projects involve a little intermix of all of those things, including some of the stuff I've got coming up. So if you like that kind of stuff, you just like watching people build shit, hit the subscribe down below. If you have any comments about what I've said so far or what I'm about to say, leave it down in the doobly-doo and let's get a conversation going like we did on the last video. Meanwhile, let's get back to it. Okay, so obviously I have not stopped using the P1S. I mean, it is, for all intents and purposes, a fantastic printer. However, I fear that may not be the case in the future. One of the things I recently decided to do was integrate it with Home Assistant. That's pretty freaking awesome. When this print is done, my hallway light flashes 3 times to let me know the printer is done. If there's an error, it flashes a different pattern. How freaking cool is that? With this firmware update, that shit would go away. The ability to use third-party products like the Panda Touch. I don't know if Orca Slicer currently has plans to integrate the Connect app. What I didn't know when I made that last video, I thought this Connect thing was just like the network plug-in you normally would find on Bambu Studio or Orca, but no. This is a separate Windows application that you run. It's a whole other step in your workflow. No, I want the printer and the slicer to talk to each other directly like I do right now. Obviously, I've already turned this to straight LAN mode, but I've done a couple other things. I'm going to show you what you can do, and hopefully this can prevent the thing from deciding, hey, there's new firmware, I'm going to go ahead and update myself. I mean, my smart TVs do that all the time. They constantly update. I don't have a way to tell them not to. I just don't trust it. So here's what I've done. Follow along if you want to try to make it a little safer and maybe worry a little bit less about it auto-updating. There are a couple of ways it could potentially auto-update. One, if the machine talks to the Chinese servers directly, even if you're in LAN mode, I mean, it's still on your network, it still has access to the internet, and maybe it is checking every now and then, like a lot of software does. Hey, is there an update available? Another way, though, is through Bambu Studio itself. It may sneakily throw an update on there. So here's what I've done to prevent any of that kind of shit from being able to happen. I don't normally cuss in my videos, but I mean, what, $750 all in? A lot more than that with all the add-ons, but you get what I'm saying. I'm a little upset. Still gonna use the darn thing. Matter of fact, this thing has been printing non-stop to the point where I'm gonna need a second machine, and we'll get to that here shortly. First, let's take a look at what I've drawn on the whiteboard behind me. What I've drawn up here is my solution. Number 1, we don't want Bambu's printer talking to the World Wide Web. How do we stop that? In your router. Now, this is going to depend on what kind of router you have, but simply firewalling the machine is not really going to do what we want it to do, unless you know how to do fancy firewall rules and all that. But what I've done is I've enabled parental controls. So this still has full access to my home network, including Home Assistant, my laptop running Orca Slicer, my desktop, anything else in the house, but it is not allowed to talk to the rest of the world, especially over that way. This is going to depend on your router, but in my, oddly enough, a TP-Link router is what I'm using.
I need TP for my bunghole.
In mine, it's parental controls, and you just set it 24/7. This IP address or this MAC address is not allowed internet access. It is still able to talk to other machines on the network. LAN mode, parental controls. Check. Check. Get rid of Bambu Studio, just get it off your machine and download Orca Slicer or any other slicer that you prefer. If you're familiar with Bambu Studio, you're used to using it, you will find Orca almost identical in appearance, in form and function, where everything is, even how it interfaces with the printer. So get Orca Slicer. There is a setting, I'll throw it on the screen, but make sure it is in stealth mode. That just makes sure Orca knows not to talk to Bambu's servers for any reason. So you're gonna get rid of that, and you're not going to be able to use the Bambu Handy app either. I didn't really find it all that handy. I feel this is about as safe as I can make it without disconnecting it completely and doing the SD card shuffle. I'm not going back to those days. Now, so my second or next printer. The reason I wrote that on the board is, as I mentioned, this printer has been running 24/7. I'm trying to start a little Etsy side business. I'll talk about that in another video. I'm rapid prototyping. This thing runs nonstop. And what really sucks is I might have a 13-hour print running and I want to do a quick prototype of something. It'd be nice to have another machine next to it. And my original plan was to get another one without the AMS, put it right next to it. It was going to either be that or maybe an A1. Well, now I'm stuck. What do I want as my next printer? I've been watching all the reviews. Everybody has taken what Bambu did and they've not only copied it, they've made it better and possibly surpassed it, which means these guys don't have the stronghold that they thought they had anymore, and their little lockdown thing here it's gonna cost them, at least here in the US and at least by us makers. Point is, my original plan of just having a bunch of Bambus eventually, that's out the window. At least until something changes. Leave your comments below. You guys were not shy about the comments on my previous video. That's why it's still on YouTube, but it's unlisted because, well, a lot has changed since I made that video, and I'm a little more well informed on what kind of shit they're pulling here. Anyway, thanks so much for watching and listening to me rant. I hope some of that networking stuff maybe helps give you a little peace of mind, but keep in mind I am not by any means a networking expert. I just do projects of all sorts, electronics, automotive. Almost every project nowadays includes some kind of 3D print as well. So make sure you're subscribed if you like that kind of stuff. Otherwise, YouTube thinks you might like this video right here.